Yo, what's up, everybody? We finally did it. We hit 1,000 followers on TikTok. We just butchered an attempt to go live. Just first time really doing it. Haven't done anything like that ever. So, thanks for the 400 that came and dropped in and said what's up real quick. That was pretty awesome. Um, but guys, this is huge. I mean, everyone says you got to focus on the little wins in life, and like we said, John has preached this from the beginning. Is like we're just two dads that really just love the game of golf. We love sports. We're bringing it to you guys. Obviously, our TikTok page is more about the joys of when we do get out to go out and play. Um, we're just bringing this content to you guys, and it's so awesome. The people that we've met. I mean, from Patty to Roland to some of the people we have lined up coming in. Um, it's just awesome. So thank you so much for everyone that has followed, has liked, has been there with us from. I mean, this is just the beginning, but again, like this is huge for us. We've never had anything like that. So let's get this thing kicked off. We're going to go back and kind of talk about last weekend and the PGA Championship. I just want to start off by saying, like, I think Michael Block just stole the show. Stole
And
the show.
the PGA Tour is so happy about that because
Yeah.
imagine if Michael Block missed the cut or, basically just missed the cut. If he would have missed the cut, then everything would have been all on Brooks Koepka, Live.
Yeah.
And without that, that thing is definitely overshadowing. At least they're attempting to overshadow, Brooks Koepka winning his fifth major.
What do you think the PGA is more excited because it's a PGA
Association.
it's a PGA pro, like
Yeah.
someone who manages a golf course,
Hmm.
really doesn't play a lot. At least in my history, I don't know about Michael. I know that
Oh
back
yeah.
in his earlier days, he played a lot, but I don't know if it's like they're more excited about that or the fact of his, or just the fact of his candor, like his true honesty, and really what you see is what you get. Like he's
Where's his
soaking it
emotions
all
on
in.
his sleeve and
Yeah,
everything?
I mean, he's just a big kid at heart who's like,
Mhm.
this is a dream come true. And now, like, I don't know if you saw, but like TaylorMade put him up on their headquarters. Like he's like the main guy when you first walk into the kingdom. Um, it just says like Beyond Drive, I think is what the logo says.
Mhm.
Now he's got his opportunity going to into the Charles Schwab event. You
Mhm.
know, I just recently saw something that he accepted some terms to go play on the Canadian tour, which is awesome. So, I mean, he really did kind of steal the show from Brooksie. I mean, congratulations to Brooks. For winning his fifth. That's pretty awesome. He surpassed Rory. Now he's got more major wins than Rory.
Ooh, almost
Um,
that sting a little. Ooh, rub that in a little bit,
it's
huh? I
got to.
mean,
It's got to.
oh man, I mean, okay, so the crate. So, like I was saying all last week and during the Masters, like I was really hoping for a live guy to win a major. Like that was just, I really want it to happen. And now, who is it? What's that guy that's like who's always hated on the live? He's got like a weird name, but he's like a white dude, older white dude. What's his name? He was getting talked back to about the Ryder Cup. If you saw the memes getting posted, and the guy's like, it's the USA versus Europe. It's not like the PGA Tour versus like, Europe. Do you remember his name off the top of your head? It's like Ganel or Gamel or something.
Uh-uh.
You would know him. He's like one of the most influential people in like on like the PGA Tour for like color commentary, but his whole thing before was like, oh, they're not good enough. They're not going to win it. They're not playing enough. They're not this. And then when Brooks won, he changed his stance to, well, Liv just has the best players that money can buy. We all knew that and all this stuff. And I'm just like, dude, I hate when people do that just to stay relevant, changing their ways and what they're talking about. But the crazy thing is about Brooks, I saw that the last three PGA championships that were played in the state of New York are all won by Brooks Koepka.
Yeah, I saw that too. That's
Crazy.
pretty amazing.
And he's from Florida, completely different. Like
Yeah.
it's hot, it's warm, it's humid. It's not like that in New York, at least when they played the PGA championship.
Yeah. But I mean, Brooksie's just different, man. I mean, he makes it very clear. Like all he cares about is majors. He doesn't care about really anything else. I mean, he says he doesn't practice for normal events. He just goes out and plays. But when it comes to majors, he is back in the gym. He's practicing. He's doing all the stuff he needs to do to win or to give himself a shot. But I mean, his game was just lights out in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion. I mean, he was rolling the rock really well. He was driving the shit out of the ball. I mean, he just looked like old Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like, you know, did you expect anything different after the Masters? I mean, I totally had I think I even mentioned I had Brooks at the top of my list to win that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was very, very shocked to see like to see like John Rahm. I think he shot what +6. Justin Thomas was +14.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Phil was +12.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan I think finished
It
+7.
was almost like a
Um,
U.S. Open with like how difficult that course was. You know,
yeah, I mean
like
that rough was insane. Like I saw I think one of the worst ones that I saw was Ricky was up on he was like up on this ridge by the tree. I think I want to say it was number 6 with like the smaller green, but he was up on the ridge and he you can hear it. He hit it pure, but
mhm.
his they showed it in slow motion and literally his club went from square just to like
Mm.
so open and he hit like a flop and came up like 30 yards short. Then he had like there was a false front. So he had to like get it on top of that shot to then
Dang.
get up on top of the hill to then get it to roll down. And he hits a great shot off the fairway
Mm.
and the ball rolls off the back of the green.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's
Yep.
like automatic bogey. It was just like how do you do that? You know? I mean,
I mean, it didn't look
the
like a fun
close
course to play. It did not
it
look
looked
like
it
fun.
look, man, it looked like a great course. I mean, I'll tell you this much,
Oh,
like
great
this
course.
weekend,
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I had my tournament this weekend for the Sonoma County Amateur and finished 11th. uh, I shot an 80 and an 86,
Ooh.
and it was tough. I mean, the first day I hit 15 of 18 fairways. I hit 12 of the 18 greens in regulation, but I had 7 3 putts.
Ooh.
It was tough, dude. Like it was the hardest that Foxtail had played, I think ever that I've ever experienced. And
Mm.
I was terrified standing over putts. And I could only imagine when you're like trying to just salvage for pars, like, dude, it's
Especially at Oak Hill, and you're going a
yeah,
downhill putt, and you basically just touch it, and you just pray that it's gonna get
yep,
stopped. Oh man, yeah. I
yeah.
mean,
I,
that
it,
course itself. I know you were showing me a video of like the guy who created it. Basically, seems like he just hated golfers. Like he just was like, okay, we're gonna run the greens like this. We're gonna create it like this. We're gonna have like the slopes go this way. We're gonna have the angles this way. They played it a few times. Like, okay, it's not hard enough. We need to make it harder. What
yeah,
can we do? Let's shorten this. Let's like make the green or the bunkers deeper, and all
yeah,
this stuff. And it's like that's why people don't play golf. Like I feel like links courses are what people would like to play if they're not that good. That's what keeps people back, right? If you hit the ball, you're gonna go left, you're gonna go right, and you're not that good. You don't have enough time to play that consistently. That's the only chance you're gonna have, in my opinion, to have fun. Unless you're like drinking or smoking or doing whatever, listen to music,
yeah,
just hanging out with the boys, right? If you're actually trying to play decently, courses with better conditions to help people out. That if they go to like, what were they saying? I think it was like a 10 what are they saying, there's like a PGA Tour questions they're asking, like Billy Horschel, all these people that were playing, what would like a 12 handicap shoot, and they're
yeah.
like, they're not breaking 150, they're not breaking 120, like there's no chance. And who was it, uh
Jordan said if they were to shoot somewhere around 100, that's a commendable
yeah,
score.
right. And then who was Joel Dahman, his caddy, played the day after and shot an 85 from the
Yeah,
tips.
yeah,
And that is insane. I mean, I think on, what was it, Saturday, when it was like pouring down the whole day, Brooks shot a 4 under at that course in the rain. Like it didn't even stop.
yeah,
It reminded me like the greatest game ever played when they all just played in the rain. And
yep,
like Justin Thomas was putting with his hat backwards, and at one point was putting with his
Let,
wedge.
let's talk about that for a second. So everyone said that like it was kind of a sore to the PGA.
Right, right. I could
I
see that.
I don't
I could
I don't
see why
agree.
it is.
I don't agree with that because if it the with how hard it was raining, if your head's down over a putt, you have drips
Yeah, it's gonna
coming off
drip.
of your hat.
Oh,
So
100%, 100%.
yeah, so I mean like
So
I,
I
I
would
don't
kind of
yeah.
I don't agree with you either. I don't agree with you either, honestly. But they're all stuck in their ways, and it's like the whole thing. If you have to wear pants, even if it's 110 degrees outside with like 98% humidity, you have to wear pants. That's the
Mhm.
protocol kind of a thing. You can't wear shorts. Sorry, we made a mistake of putting this tournament on a really hot day. Like I remember, I think it was the PGA Championship back in 2005, 2006, I was in Arkansas playing in a baseball tournament, and they had it in Tulsa, Oklahoma at Southern Hills, and it was like 100 degrees with like 98% humidity. I think Tiger won it that year, but it was like, and Tiger was wearing black pants, and you're just
Yeah.
like, dude, this has got to be brutal. But
Well,
like, it's one of
there
those things where they're so tradition, like, and it's
yeah.
annoying, but
Well, there was one that I remember where I think they were playing I think they were playing somewhere over at PGA West. It was just like I forget which tournament it was. But they were playing La Quinta and Tiger went through like four shirts in the round.
oh, dang.
Yeah, he literally like changed his shirt during the round because he was sweating so profusely.
Jeez.
Yeah. But again, like I sent you that picture a couple weeks ago where I had my men's club tournament. It was dumping. And I flipped my hat backwards because I was like, I, I can't putt. I'm watching these thick drips just come off of my hat right on top of my golf ball. I said, the only benefit is that I know that my eye line is directly over the golf ball, which is awesome. So my setup's
Yeah, I
good,
know,
but
right?
I'm watching these things just come down. But I thought that was I thought that was a bit extreme. Like, you know, the traditional golfer, the weekend golfer is changing. You have a much younger
Hmm.
demographic where the reason why people are going more to live is because it's going against the tradition that we all know, and you're seeing little things that the PGA is doing where they are playing music on the range. They're giving the guys the opportunity to wear shorts during practice rounds now. They're doing
Hmm.
certain things, but it's like ultimately it's like, is it really that hard? Like, do you really think that there's so many right winged people that are gonna be, oh my god, like they can't do this? I mean, do you remember when Tiger came out with the collarless shirt
I don't
and how
remember when or like the pushback. I do remember when I first saw that, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting."
yeah, and like the PGA was like, you can't wear those shirts, and he's like, why? It's like a tuxedo collar. It's just small,
Hmm.
and they're like, no, and of course, what did Tiger say? He's like, well, I'm gonna wear it. You're not gonna tell me
Hmm.
what to do. No one
Yeah.
talked about that, but if it's JT with his hat backwards or putting with his wedge, it's like there's a certain point where you're just like, dude, I'm out of this thing, but I have to keep going because I made the cut. Like,
Hmm.
what are you gonna do? I
Hmm.
mean, there's just a point where I don't want to say he was defeated, but he just he wasn't really playing for anything. He was just trying to survive the rest of the round. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And when I saw him with that hat backwards, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" 'Cause I was in Monterey, and it was on like I had it on our TV when we were visiting, and I snapped a photo, and I'm like, "Dude, this is giving me like Bubby vibes from like Bubby Golf on Good, always rocking his hat backwards." I was like, "This is awesome," and I'm like, "Ooh, I wonder how people are gonna take this, especially because it's not like a John Deere Classic, where
Yeah,
like 1,000 people are watching. This is like a major." And it's
yeah.
on ESPN, one of the most famous sporting networks. So people are watching, regardless if they're flipping through. And to see someone with a hat backwards, you're just not going to expect that. It's like Ken
I
Griffey Jr., with his hat
yeah
backwards back in the 90s.
yeah. I actually love watching the PGA events on ESPN. Like they don't cut anything. They
Well, yeah, well,
literally
the ESPN, yes, but no, sorry. ESPN Plus, yes.
yeah.
ESPN itself is different, but the ESPN Plus, yeah, no, it's amazing. Oh, with
Yeah,
that Jordan Spieth, with John Rahm, like those
yeah.
are those are freaking amazing.
I mean, it was great to hear Jordan be like, "It's a goddamn iron shot. Can you
Yeah,
fucking hit an iron shot?" I was just
and that's
like,
the thing. Like
"We've all been there. We've all
you
been there."
know that course is in their head where it's a regular iron shot, but obviously like there's so much in it. Like if they were to just be playing anywhere else, not people watching, and they knew like the green was or the hole was right in the middle of the fairway, boom, not hard at all. But then when they start adding in that pressure, they start adding in the people watching them around. They're struggling. You're trying to bounce back. You have so many factors that are building up against you, and what becomes normal and what you're used to and like robotic just becomes like foreign, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like a version of the yips where some people can handle it for better than others. Obviously Jordan Spieth won some majors so he can handle it, but like sometimes you just don't have it. Just like
Yeah.
you and me, we pitched. Sometimes you just don't have it. Sometimes you pitch better when you don't have it, and you're like, how the heck am I getting these guys out? And I feel like I'm throwing 80 miles an hour. Like,
Yep.
how are they not doing it? And that some days that you're getting lit up and you feel like you have your best stuff. And it's like, it's so on those days that I'm like dealing, but I'm feeling so uncomfortable. Those are the days when I never see my velo and I don't know how hard I'm throwing. And I wish I
Yeah.
would just to see like, was I throwing slow or was I like just like, because I just feel like I'm going through the motions and I'm lobbing the ball down the side or whatever, and they're just rolling over. And
Yeah.
it's so weird how that does work because every athlete goes through that, especially in golf. You're not playing every day, you're literally playing on weekends. And some of those weekends, and you only have 4 weekends a year that you have to be on. And if you're not on that weekend on a extremely tough course, you're gonna be exposed, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. I do. I just, again, like I said, when you're playing as bad as like Justin, Jordan, John,
Especially
you
John coming
know,
off that Masters win, yeah, like that was
yeah,
very surprising.
when you're just playing like that, and every shot that you're hitting, it's not turning out the way that it is, and you're scout and like you're grinding for pars. It's just deflating. I mean, I literally just went through that this last weekend. I mean, I was hitting the ball better than I felt like I had ever hit it, in the last few months. I mean, I was striping it. I had a few shots where I had 120 out, and I was sawing off a 54 degree just to get it to land to the number. But I had a few of them where I was like, oh yeah, 120, easy 54, and I flew the green. I'm like, what just happened? Now
Dude,
I'm
I
left. Now I'm left in
oh,
like a dead zone. Have to hit the flop of my life, knowing that I have to land it maybe 4 paces on to the green, and then it's going to roll 80 feet down the hill to the pin.
mm, dude, on Sunday when I played Monterey Pines, I literally would flight all of my wedges in from like 70 yards in, like 10 to 15 yards over the green, and I was hitting them well. I wasn't like thinning it where it definitely deserved it. I'm like, oh, great contact. And I don't know if
Yeah,
my distances were just off or I'm not used to such nice grass and not much of a in so much of a give because it's such a
yeah,
good grass and like watered down because it was misty that day too. But like every like first hole par four, like if you watch the video that I made, it's I flighted the first one. I'm like, dang it. Second one, great shot in, flighted again. Third, I don't have to flight it. And then fourth, I get my birdie. But then, yeah, then on the other, my blow up hole was like flight over, back, flight over, back. It was just like, what the heck is going on, man?
yeah,
And that's not a good feeling.
yeah. I mean, like even the guys that I was playing with, they're just like, dude, you didn't strike the ball like your score shows, and I was just like, it happens, man. I was a bit upset at it, but I was talking my like I'll say this much: tournament golf is completely different from when you're just going out and playing with like your buddies or doing whatever.
Of course, yeah.
And I was talking myself through shots on on the tee box, when I got to the fairway, I'm like, okay, we just hit a 3-iron, 255 yards. We got 130 into this thing. Like, do we want to go with a flighted pitching wedge, or do we want to just take a 50-degree, choke down, an inch and just saw it off, or what? How much bite do we want to get? And it was like every time I did it, it never played the way that I wanted to. And I was like, I've hit that shot 1,000 times. I've played this course 1,000,000 times. How am I not getting the results that normally what would happen? And
Mm-hmm.
it honestly didn't dawn on me until like the 8th hole, where my ball finally bit. And I realized, oh my God, these greens are so tight. So they're so dried out right now that of course my ball's not going to get any zip. The
Mm.
one part where my ball got zip was because I hit in the shade and it's wet.
Yeah,
If
that
I would
makes
have hit
sense.
that, if I would have hit that ball, if I would have hit that ball 6 feet to the right of where my ball just landed, I'm off the green again. Like, and then that was where my game just kind of, those approach shots became a little bit better, but I just couldn't roll the rock. Like
Mm.
I was hitting great wedge shots into where I was landing them right in front, and they rolled up to the spot, and I'm like, oh, sick! I got 10 feet. I'm like, oh crap! But I'm above the pin, so now I have to putt it like 2 inches in front of me, and then it
Oh,
just went.
that's great.
It's like Lightning McQueen coming around the turn in his prime.
I mean, like, yeah. So when it comes to taking spin off of a wedge and adding spin to a wedge, do you have to get more spin of like a 70-yard shot or so? Would you keep your face as open as possible through it, or do you try and hit it normally and like have it closed?
I keep it open. So literally, like I think as if I'm taking, if this is the center of the face, I'm taking that center of the face as long as I can to that target.
So it
And
hits all the
even when
grooves, right?
yeah, and even when I get to this point, it's literally like I'm not bringing it here. It's like my
Hmm.
hands just stop
Right.
here,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
right? But to take spin off, sometimes what I'll do is like if this is a square face, I'll bring the heel up just a bit, so I'm kind of striking it like mid toe,
Mm-hmm.
so that way it's a bit of a cut, but also I'm flighting it because I'm standing closer to the ball, so I know that it's going to bounce and it'll potentially roll up.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
And
then
then the other
kind
way
of
is
like
not so much spin, right? If you just take a normal shot, it's
yeah, I mean it's really like it's really about where you're striking the ball. If you're catching all ball, you're and you keep those hands low through it, you're gonna get a lot of bite. But if you're going with like loose hands where you're kind of swinging and then you break the wrist to kind of give it a little bit more of a scoop, you can expect it just to kind of do like the 1-2 stop, you know, type of bite. Because then that way your hands are loose, the club is really scooping the ball, and
okay.
that ball is just going like you know like a what were those things called? Like a Beyblade, basically.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, because I know, like, if you try that as well, you also hit it higher, right? It goes higher up in the
Mhm.
air as well. So then that
Well,
does help it
also
as well, right?
too, right? If you're gonna hit that shot, you have to have it like in line with your front heel. If you're gonna try and hit like that low kind of fill 1-2 stop,
Mm-hmm.
right? You want to hit it off of your back big toe with 60% of your weight leaning towards your right side, or I'm sorry, towards your left side, right? So
Okay. Okay.
So when you're coming down on it, you're essentially like trapping the ball, not like a steep trap, but you're picking it clean, keeping that chest over the ball, and then you finish with the same thing. Finish with your face, kind of face looking back at you.
Right. Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Hmm. Interesting.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, going back to your tournament, man, I mean, I feel like those kind of greens remind me of when I played at Airways like 2 years ago. The driest greens ever. You couldn't get anything to sit. And obviously, it's a crappy course compared to probably
yeah,
Fox Hill, but it's just super dry. And there was nothing that was sitting, no matter what you did.
yeah.
And freaking brutal. And that's not fun unless you are, I don't know. I mean, did they have a
I
chipping
had
area that you were able to prepare for that or no?
well, that's the thing is like where the range is at. You're hitting off of mats. Then then they had the chipping area that's over by the south course, which that's not going to react the same way. And then the putting green, the bigger putting green that's over by the clubhouse is slower. Like it's not as dry, but on the first tee, there's a green there that represents what you're about to play on, and there's only like 3 holes that you can putt to, and you have like 120 guys in this event,
Right.
you know, and everyone's, it's 10-minute tee
One.
time, so everyone's out there trying to spend at least an hour. Some dudes are out there for an hour, some guys are out there for 30 minutes before their tee time, just rolling
Mm-hmm.
putts, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, dude, it's chaotic out here. What the heck's going on?
Yeah. Right.
You know, um, but
uh,
last week, I'm gonna kind of change it up a little bit. Last
yep.
week or this week, we spoke with Roland, who is the CEO of anywhere
Anytime.
or
Anytime
anytime.
golf. First
Any,
Coast.
yeah, anytime golf First Coast. Like, I gotta say, man, he's a military vet. Or I'm sorry, he's not a vet. He's a Navy. He's an active Navy um, soldier right now, and to kind of hear his mindset, man, it really puts. I don't know about you, but it kind of put things into reality for me. I mean, like I said, we all are going through certain things, and it's like for him, he mentioned like the differences in kind of the living quarters, where like his is kind of like the older stuff, and then on the other side you have these super nice like 4-bedroom homes that are brand new on
Mm-hmm.
this military base, and he's like, but there's nothing here. He's like, you got the commentary, or the commissary areas that you can go and get like your groceries and everything like that, but then there's just like a bowling alley. And I'm thinking, damn, that sucks, man. Like, bowling's cool and all, but like
Right.
I've heard of a lot of military places that actually do have golf courses, but they're
And
just,
that's what I was surprised with. I was
yeah.
going to ask that, but yeah, I was thinking the same thing too. I was like, interesting, because the course that I played in Monterey was literally a Navy-owned course. So,
Yeah, it was just interesting, but I was really happy to connect with them. I mean, we spent like another 30 minutes just chatting after you left, um just about adversities in life, and
mm-hmm.
how to come over, or how to get over certain things. We were talking a little bit more about the adversities of being a dad, and he's like, we didn't really get into all that, but he's like, the hardest thing is being away, from the kids. And he's like, and when I go on tours or when I'm doing training, it's, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, at a time,
Mm-hmm.
and I stay like right there on base, like in the bunkers. And I just was like, here I am, you know, I have, I have, I have the privilege of working from home and spending time with my daughter, but it just never seems like it's enough,
Right.
and it eats me up, because it's like looking at what I grew up with as a father. Like, my dad was there for everything. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I remember, for in high school, like, actually, I remember, yeah, it was high school. It was senior day, and he he was in the UK. He was there for work, and I didn't think he was even gonna be there, but he ends up showing up and uh, witnesses a perfect game, like, and it was combined. So it was like me,
What?
Jacob Martinez, LeBron's, and somebody else. There was one other person. I think it was either Shannon Lowry or Joe Bame. We all combined for a perfect game that our senior night.
Oh,
And
what?
yeah, man, it was just crazy. And it's like, we we tend to prioritize the things that really, quite honestly, like, people like you and I are loyal to a fault. Like, we will always help people and do what we can, until you give us a reason not to.
Right.
And I think with everything that I've gone through, like in my recent experiences with work, like, it's really changed my mindset. Like, I want to do my best, but I'm not gonna lose sleep over it.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna sacrifice time away from my wife and my daughter just because of something that has to do with work. You know, like
Mhm.
work will always be there, you know,
Mhm.
but
And they can let you go at a drop of a hat. They can and
yeah,
not even think twice about it. And like at
yeah,
the end of the day, yeah. Did I tell you? I saw something. It was like, no, I told Stephanie, my wife, the only people who remember that you worked late for work or stayed at or worked late, all those years or whatever, are
is
going to
you.
be your kids. It's not
Oh,
going to
yeah,
be
that too.
it's not going to be the people that you're working for. It's going to be your kids.
Yeah.
And because, yeah, at the end of the day, very few people stay in one company or one job their whole life. You're
Hmm.
usually working a few, and the kids are going to remember that the most. And
Yeah.
it's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But the thing that you know that I thought was very inspiring was the passion in which Roland talked
Hmm.
about
Oh,
how
yeah.
much he loved what it was.
Hmm.
He was literally giving his services away for free at times just to give, just in hopes of like inspiring a kid to pick up golf, to want to look more into the golf industry, you
Hmm.
know, and even even in the podcast, like I didn't realize that he actually had like like he made molds of putting greens to go places. Like I thought he already had like an RV where he
Hmm.
was taking things, but then once he said like, oh yeah, I make the molds and I take them out and I put them down on the ground and there's an 18-hole mini golf course, and I was like, oh my god, I was like,
Mind
I had
blown.
the complete wrong idea, but the aspirations in which he says, that he's trying to accomplish, like there needs to be more of those. Like
Oh,
we
yeah.
have one in San Francisco, and like I said, it's cool. Like
Right.
the one that you and I went to, that one's cool. They have a skins league. They have their men's league and stuff like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
But
Yep.
dude, I remember when I went and got a Gatorade. The guy's like, "Oh yeah, just tap the code." I'm like, "I have cash. Could I just give you cash for it?" And he was like, "No, you got to do the code." And I'm like, "Fuck that! I'm not paying." I'm like, "I'm not doing this then." like,
But yeah, I mean,
like
like his thought behind it was like really cool. Just being the fact that it's a mobile miniature golf course that you can literally take anywhere. That
anywhere.
anywhere. I mean, like it would be. I mean, I don't know. It'd be a really cool idea to like take it all 50 states and make it a thing, make it a YouTube thing, travel
Yeah.
50 states and do it all over, and you know that could easily pump up some numbers. And he said he had a lot of market research, for that
Hmm.
potential of what he has. And I definitely think he's got a lot of potential there, especially because like you can be, it's it's such a harmless thing. Anybody can putt. It's like cornhole. If you can toss a
Yeah.
bag, you can play this game. Anyone can do. You're not running. You're just tapping a ball, and it's pretty addicting when you make a putt, and it's yeah, I mean, like the fact that he was doing that for free, just to in hopes of just for I like the goodness of his heart, not even just because of, oh, I need this for money, I need this for money. It's like I want to do this because this could benefit kids, this could benefit people, this could bring people together.
Yeah.
Obviously, the money is great and it helps me run my business. It helps me support my family. But that wasn't the ultimate thing, and that's very rare nowadays. I feel like you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
you don't see
I
that too
agree.
often.
I mean, think about how we were. I mean, honestly, like let's be real here. Think about how we were when we came up with upside, or up and down golf. Like the first thing you and I started thinking about was like, oh my god, could you imagine if someone's paying like $10 a hole, like, and we take 5% of all that stuff off the top? Like,
Hmm.
dude, that's so much money. And I was like, oh my god, you're so right. Yeah, like it's
What am I
true
gonna
though.
buy? What am I gonna
Yeah,
get?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's true when you think about the possibilities, but ultimately though, like even in my last role, like this is something that sticks in my head. Like there's just certain moments in, when you have certain encounters with people that you just don't forget. And one of them was with the CEO of this German gaming company. They make that game, tank battles. or something like that. It was like a big game back like when we were in college.
Mm.
But now they have like actual tanks where you can go battle people and you take over like little cities and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And I sat down with him. We were at the W, like we were at this VC party, and we were just drinking and having fun. I said, "Hey, man, I know who you are. I know you're trying to keep it under wraps. Like I recognize the company name." I said, "I just got a question for you. For a game that has multiplayer or that has several multiplayer aspects to it, why would you not implement some type of voice chat or video chat for people to like have live group chats with their friends playing?" He goes, because people don't care about that. Like they really don't. He goes, some say that they do, but if your game sucks, having interactivity is not going to make it better. Like
Mm-hmm,
we
mm-hmm.
have to go in and fix the bugs that make the game suck because that's what's going to keep people coming back.
Right.
He's like any person that you meet here at this event and tells you, yeah, you know what, that'd be great that we can have some type of voice chat or even just SMS chat, so we can keep users there longer. He's like, that company's not going to be around much longer. He goes, if you want to really immerse yourself in the gaming industry, he goes, look for the top performing games, come up with a solution of how you can continue to keep them as a top producing game.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
like ever since then, my whole approach was completely different to how I would go about the gaming industry and talk about certain innovative product offerings and all this stuff. And it makes sense, when you
Yeah,
hear
of
from
course.
professionals and you hear about those that really care about what they're giving to the world, what they're giving to users. Yeah, the last thing they care about is the money. It's because ultimately sometimes a lot of these people, they just kind of keep their teams very skinny. But when you have companies that expand too fast, then it's
Mm-hmm.
like now you're letting people down, and then you have to go through and do
Right.
workforce reductions and all this different stuff. So
Right, and like what I was going to mention in the previous podcast, but I just didn't. Was I felt like I wasn't able to get a word in sometimes, which was fine because there's a lot of stuff going on both ends. I was just
yeah,
like, whoa. But like it's like a cook. They say like you can taste if a cook loves what they're doing. You can because they put love into it, and like when they care about it, and you can taste it. You can tell
yeah.
like how much they taste it compared to just going to McDonald's. You get the same thing every day with someone that's just going to throw things together. Like
I'm always shocked with the taste of my McDonald's, man. It's never consistent.
yeah, that's for other reasons. If you want to check that out, check out the movie Waiting. If you haven't
Oh
seen that,
yeah. That just hey, speaking of that, just got released on Tubi, which is like that free,
oh no
like
way!
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
such
I
a
thought about watching.
classic.
I thought about watching it today. Ryan Reynolds is
Uh,
so good in that movie.
such
He's
a
so funny.
classic. But I mean, like, and that's one thing that I realized that, like, yeah, like you can tell, like you said, like for SMS for like messaging on a game that sucks. Why would you play? Why would you? Who is going to be playing on a game for the SMS or for just for messaging? Just for
Yeah.
no one's going to do that unless it's literally something that is originally for communicating with people, and on the
Mhm.
side you have a crappy game. That's different. But if the main thing is a game and it sucks, why would anyone be like, "Oh, dude, but they have SMS"? Well, I have
Yeah.
FaceTime. Do you have FaceTime? Okay, let's do that. Like,
Yeah.
what's the point? Like there's really no reason for that. But with with his passion, I can. I mean, he does not seem like a quitter, like someone that's just going to roll over. And I'm definitely pulling for him, and I know you're pulling for him. And I wouldn't be surprised within the next year or two. I think he said he had 4 more years left. Was it 4 more years left in his
Yeah.
service before
A
he's like
service.
retired or whatever?
Yeah.
At least through the Navy. And when he could do that thing full time, you never know, man. I mean, we could be the first people to ever get him on a podcast, and that would be really cool.
I
And
mean, we already.
also,
I mean, we already gave him an investment, so
yeah, I know. I
yeah.
mean, that was freaking amazing.
Yeah.
That was huge. I was like, awesome, very cool, good. Did not
Yeah.
see that one coming, but hey, that's awesome. I mean, if anyone deserved it, I mean, it's definitely him. I mean,
Yeah, for
just a
sure.
stand-up guy.
And that was the thing is like you could. I mean, you could feel like the hunger, the passion of what he wanted to do just to get a bar. I mean,
Yeah,
literally, like it was just a bar, and then he wants to gut like the booth seatings and put the booths in, which I'm like, that's genius. Like, why aren't people doing this more? Like, I loved it, man. I'm like, dude, go do your thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just remember, like, we're here for dads.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's
Yep.
what this whole thing is
Yep.
about. We're here for dads. Like,
Yep.
I don't know. And it's not like to say like we don't support moms. Like, you and I both have incredible wives who work their fucking asses off and do
Mm-hmm.
incredible things every single day for our kids. And I think that's something that's not talked about enough either.
Oh, of
Like,
course, of course.
everyone now is trying to normalize, like, oh, but the dads go through hard times too. And it's like, we do, but we don't need the world to, like,
The
really
gratitude.
know.
We need the
Yeah,
gratitude. Yeah. Right.
yeah. Well, we just don't need the sympathy. I think ultimately it's like when we choose our person that we spend the rest of our lives with, like, that's our go-to. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the one thing I tell Isis all the time is, like, just thank you for being so supportive. Thank you for being the person that keeps me grounded, because yeah, there's times where I'm just like, I'm gonna go fucking nuts. Like, I don't, I'm at that level, and she's just like, relax, here, have a beer, just chill. Like, the day's over. It's gonna be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow's a new day. Don't stress about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then I hear about, like, the work drama she goes through, and it's like, I don't know, man. Like, the the healthcare industry is just, it's a different beast. And you know
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like a lot of people talk about it, because a lot of people just don't care, and so many people are torn because of this whole COVID thing too, where it's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
healthcare is only there just to make their pockets fatter. They don't fucking care about the people. We're just cows to them, and we're just another number. Like, there's some that really, really care.
Oh, of
And you
course.
can't sign those people out.
Of course, and the hardest thing that I would assume for that, since I do work on the admission side of things for people that are getting their nursing degrees, getting their physical therapy degrees, getting their occupational degrees, things like that, it's like I feel like you're getting beat every day because
Mhm.
because you're the one that's supplying the support. You're the one who is comforting while someone is probably upset that they're there. They're upset that a
Experiencing their
family
worst
member
time of
is
their
there.
life. Yeah.
Exactly. All this negativity that's so hard, and at some point it's so easy to get burnt out because like you just feel like no matter what you do, people are going to be frustrated, irritated, XYZ. And I can only imagine how difficult that is,
Yeah. I
Like,
mean, could you imagine, like, being a first responder during COVID, having to
oh
really put
man.
yourself on the line,
Hmm.
and now it's like, some people just walk in and they look at you in disgust, and others look at you like, wow, you really are a hero.
Hmm. Hmm.
And at the end of the day, it's like, Issa said this when during 2020, which is like, I'm just doing my job. Like, I'm just
Hmm.
doing what I care about, which is, like, I care about the people.
Hmm.
I want to make sure everyone's safe. I want to make sure I'm safe. And in order to do that, it's like, you have to take care of the environments in which you're in.
Hmm.
And like, my godbrother's at the time, he was a battalion chief for Fresno Cal Fire. And he was just like, dude, it's insane. Like, some people get it, like, really, really bad, and then some people just have it, like, as if it's a flu.
Hmm. Hmm.
um but yeah, man, it's a I think it's a really, really weird time for, like, healthcare people at this time, with everything that's happened. And now
Oh
they're
yeah.
talking about another um pandemic that could be arising.
Well, of
It's like,
course. I mean,
it just never stops.
if you're gonna have a pandemic with a 99% success, 99% survival rate, that opens the bag for anything to be a
Yeah,
pandemic.
Bill
Literally
Gates is
anything.
going to be right there again to fucking invest and start
Oh
making
man.
hella money off of it.
Oh right, man. But I mean, we have ventured off a little bit, but I think it's a good time to wrap up this episode here.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, again, like,
It's true.
I'm,
I get it. No, I mean, yeah,
yeah,
like you said, like yeah, obviously, this is for dads because we're dads. It doesn't
yeah,
mean that we're have anything against anyone else. We're just dads, so that's why
yeah.
it's called for
And
dads.
we're golf dads,
And we're
and
golf dads. Yep.
we're upside dads. So don't forget to use that 4dads promo code and get you 20% off a sweet new rangefinder, a Thunder's training stick,
Mm-hmm.
a magnetic foam mount for your golf cart, or a magnetic towel so you don't lose your towel when you're taking out there on a wet day to clean up your clubs, or even just to clean up your ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you like seeing the videos we take out on the golf course, John uses a GoPro. I use my iPhone, and I use the upside phone mount for the most part, or my range stick to to film it. So, get you something. Remember, 20% off for dads on Upside Golf. Go get you something.
Yes, sir. And if you haven't checked out our TikTok, definitely check us out. We just surpassed 1,000 again. Thank you on that. We're trying to go live. I failed miserably tonight. We'll hopefully try and get that situated. But thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. Take care. Have a great weekend.